Alrighty, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. This is an educational channel, and we try to hook you up with information about great theories, concepts, and discoveries that you might not be familiar with. Things that have been suppressed that the powers that be don't want you to know about. Also, a lot of stuff from, my heroes, people who spent their whole life working on something but never really got recognized, but still put together a quality magnum opus or a tour de force. And this is a segment that we have that is called Your Blind Side. And this is an attempt to protect the info warriors out there, the diggers, anons, truthers, conspiracy theorists out there who are benefiting me and others because of their digging, but who may not be able to protect themselves from everything because they're like ensconced in their own rabbit holes. And I was getting at this the other day, or earlier today, I believe, and the Patriots need to use a little bit more discernment and being a little bit more nuanced in their approach to wokeism or DEI or diversity or um, whatever you want to call it, race relations, because you know it's not a one-way street. It's not, the fact that the revisionist history that started in the 60s and 70s, and inverted, a lot of universities, um, and emphasized, how America was a bad place and they had slavery and these people, the patriot founders, were all slave owners or whatever. And, that is a communist plot. That's something that the people that want to overthrow us are trying to put in to demoralize, the population. But at the same time, that doesn't mean, the fact that it's a psyop, the fact that it's, um, a propaganda message doesn't mean that, Christopher Columbus was a good guy, a hero, or it doesn't mean that, any of these patriots were heroes. It means that they weren't villains. They were like all of us. They were flawed individuals who did some good things and did some bad things. And, so it's a little bit of both. It's not, you can't, you can't just be on one side or the other. And especially if you're not willing to do the digging to kind of check your own side. And that's kind of what I'm seeing with the Patriot movement, is just this reflexive idea that, um, oh well, the woke people are trying to push this, and so therefore we got to push this, and it's like no, um, the woke the revisionist history really did debunk your you know um, your uh, pageant of American history where you only looked at the good side of things. Um, but they didn't debunk it completely. They didn't debunk it to the point where everybody's now a criminal. There's a middle ground there. And that's where pretty much uh, everybody finds themselves, is, you know, flawed individuals who make some mistakes but do some things well. Columbus was incredibly brave to do what he did, but he still, slaughtered a lot of people. It's right in his diary. And he, was really motivated by, gold and slaves. And he was, funded by the deep state. Um, and so when I hear you guys like celebrating Columbus Day, like this is a great thing, but then at the same time you take Juneteenth and say that this is a bad thing, it just doesn't really show your level of discernment as being, very high. Another item similar to this is just, when you talk about black crime or you talk about black people being uncivilized or, that you have black fatigue, I can understand all that. You know, they've kind of tried to shove black people down your throat, in the same way they tried to shove transgenders or feminists or abortion or any of these things down your throat. Gay people. Um, but you do have to acknowledge that, you know, black people are just kind of useful idiots in this scenario. They are not the authors of the plot. They're just um, motivated by self-interest. They figure that they can make some money on this or increase their status or even that they can, you know, pursue civil rights, but they're being manipulated by the same communists that we're talking about, that are all white, you know, or mostly white, um, probably a lot of Jews. And um, these are the people that are pulling the strings. So when you kind of get into the bashing black people, uh, you're not aiming at the target. You're not seeing the big picture. Again, you're just being motivated by first, maybe like, you know, I I contend that you all are racist, but you're just not very racist. You know, I think in my mind, all people are racist to some extent, but most people are not very racist. They may have some stereotypes or some prejudices, but it usually doesn't affect their behavior and they don't think about it very much. And it's kind of in the background. And, it's something that maybe they even are working on to decrease it. But, but the fact remains that you're still racist. And so that's part of it. There's a kind of a hatred and an envy and a jealousy that's going on because you're not getting the same opportunities as these other people. But you are um, blaming the pawn. Uh, you're not you're the people that you're targeting are the low hanging fruit. They're not the brains of the operation in most cases. And so, you know, yeah, I mean, you can say that the black people are committing the majority of the crimes with only 13% of the population, but the real crimes are all still being committed by white people, pretty much. The real, like the genocides and the um, mass killings and the conspiracies to, um, poison the air and the water and the food. Um, that's who you should be aiming at. So anyway, um, I don't disagree with where you're coming from, but just you've got to be a little bit more nuanced in your approach. All right, like, share, subscribe, comment, contribute, and come back tomorrow. Please remember to watch your blind side.